Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a great video planned out for you guys. Today, I want to talk a little bit about gold and silver, how it relates to what's going on around the world right now, specifically with the BRICS countries and the Fed meeting that takes place starts today and should be hearing what's going to happen with interest rates tomorrow evening or tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be an interesting couple days, especially with gold already moving up higher, pretty much on the guarantee that we will see a rate cut. But a lot to think about on whether or not we will see that rate cut. Now, statistically, if I was a betting man, I would say there is a rate cut coming. At least 1/4%. I don't think we'll see 0.5%. If we do see 0.5%, I think we will see gold and silver both run higher, which will be really interesting, especially for those of us that have been stacking for a while, because higher prices. If you've already got yours, you're ready for it. If not, you're hoping for lower prices, at least for a little longer, just so you can accumulate a little more or so you can accumulate some. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I hope you all enjoy the video. If you do, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. So many people watch these videos and don't hit that subscribe button. It's beyond me, and they make it all the way through the video and they forget to hit it or whatever the case may be. So please take a minute, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts on gold, silver, and some of the stuff that's going on, because it really is exciting right now. Now, I have to start off too with a quick apology for yesterday's video. Yesterday's video did not go up at 6 o'clock like it's supposed to every morning, plus or minus a minute or two. It actually went up 3 hours late. So that was because after the long weekend and everything going on, in the late hours of the night, early morning, I finished up making the video. I put it on there and it said post tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I said yes, and it had already passed midnight, and so it did not post. So I apologize, but it did go up a little bit late, so be sure and check that video out if you did not see it. I actually talked a little bit about my silver prediction and so what I think we got to look forward to, but today let's get started. Take a quick look at what is going on with silver. So right now we have silver up even more. A lot of you guys that have been following this are getting pretty excited. $42.58. When you look at the 3-day chart, you can see it started pumping up right off the bat, jumped on Monday. They tried beating it down, and it's already going back up again, even higher. Would not be surprised to see $43 today, possibly even $44 by the end of the week. By the time you kick on premiums and stuff, it makes for more expensive silver for anybody that's still stacking, and that makes it a little hard. Everything's going up. It's nice to know, though, that if you've been stacking for a while and you've been putting away money towards silver, that your silver is actually going up too. So moving on real quick, let's take a look at gold. Gold looking good right now, almost at 3,700. We're at 3,681. We're hitting new highs every day when it comes to gold. With silver, we're only seeing 14-year highs, which is still really good, but we still haven't hit that all-time high yet. But it's coming. I think it's going to come before the end of the year, so it gives us something to be excited about a little bit. Now, like I said, with gold and silver, do not be surprised to see a little bit of a pullback at the end of the month. It's the end of the third financial quarter. However, there's a lot to kind of grasp with what's going on right now. Like I mentioned before, we have the Fed meeting in the next couple days. And with the Fed meeting, it's going to be interesting whether or not they are going to cut interest rates. Statistically, I would bet they're going to cut interest rates. There's a lot of pressure on them to cut interest rates, a lot going on with the economy, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. They're not going to talk about it on mainstream media. The Fed knows what's going on. They understand if they cut interest rates, that means anybody that is buying bonds or buying debt from the Fed essentially is not going to get as much interest. They're not going to make as much money. And in a world right now that is unfortunately de-dollarizing, a lot of the BRICS countries are moving against the dollar, and they're buying physical gold. And as they continue to pick up more and more gold, they're basically saying, you know, they're downplaying the value of paper gold, paper assets, and they're essentially a big reason why I believe the gold price is surging even higher day after day. I mean, when you just look at a chart on gold, even for just the last 30 days, I mean, that is a really nice return. 30 days ago, look at this. We were down to 33.15. We're now up $365 roughly in just 1 month. That's 10% in a month. And it doesn't stop there. When you zoom out over the course of 6 months, again, we're up $381 over the last 3 months. You go out 6 months, even higher. We were down to $31.58 at one point. Beautiful opportunity to pick up. You know, some people did, some people didn't. Go even year to date, and it is incredible looking. When you look at this year to date chart, you know, you could have been picking up gold at the beginning of the year. Think about it. Just 9 months ago, you could have been picking up gold for $2,625. You're talking $1,000 profit in essentially 9 months. Now, I know some people are like, what good is $1,000 profit when everything else is going up that we buy with? And that's kind of the reason why a lot of us do stack precious metals, because we understand as prices go up on everyday items, it's also going up on our gold, our silver, excuse me. And some people right off the bat, if you really understand what's going on, you understand it's not the prices of everything going up. It's the value of your dollars going down to a point where they're worth more today. The sooner you can get them and invest them in something, the better off you're going to be. However, I do believe there's going to be a lot of assets that take huge, devastating blows when the economy takes a tank. And that can happen. A lot of people think, oh, all assets have to keep going up. That's not a guarantee. If an asset is already overvalued right now, and then interest rates were to start going up, we'll use houses, for example. It's not a guarantee that houses will keep going up. If right now, they're obviously, everybody knows they're high priced right now. If interest rates were to go up, then obviously that's going to make it even more unaffordable for the average person. Now, I know some people think, oh, there's no way they can raise interest rates. Anybody that really understands what's going on with the dollar, what's going on with the Fed, what's going on with gold, silver, money, all that, understands. Look back at what Paul Volcker had to do. He had to skyrocket the interest rates to get inflation in control. Now, back then, that was easy to do because we didn't have as much debt as we have today. We didn't rely on these other countries carrying our debt. Now we are seen as essentially I don't want to say a bad customer, a bad choice to loan to, because there's no way we can pay off the debt, and there's no way that we can get our spending, it seems like, under control. Can we get it under control? Of course we could, but it will be painful. And in a world where more and more people want Social Security raised, they want benefits, they want all these different government programs up and running. Well, those government programs cost money. Nothing is free in the world. And it doesn't help that even some of our stuff that we export is now kind of getting hit. You take a look at the beef. A lot of countries don't want our beef because of how we inject it with a lot of hormones and a lot of different stuff. A lot of countries don't want our wheat because of our growing methods. I don't remember if it was pesticides or what. They don't want our food because of all of our food colorings or essentially poisons that we put into our food. Now, is it poison? I guess I don't. Maybe that's a little extreme word. It is over the long term. The more you put in your body, obviously it's not healthy for you. Obviously that's why we have kids, younger and younger now getting diabetes, having health issues. I did a couple of shorts on that in the past. And I'll be honest, I'm not a health food junkie, obviously. I mean, my dinner tonight was top ramen noodles, just because it was quick, easy, and I'll be honest, I love ramen noodles. It's something in the salt. I don't know, all that salt I love. Although I did add a little bit of healthy stuff to it, like a chicken wrap, grilled chicken wrap, and some pico de gallo, some vegetables and stuff that I put in there, and a couple eggs. But even eggs, you think about how everything is made today with growth hormones and everything. Is there really anything even healthy? I think the chicken, that was, even though it was a rotisserie chicken, it was probably injected with something to plump it up and make it even bigger. So really, there's not really anything, it seems like, unless you're going all natural, you know. But a lot of countries don't want our stuff more and more. They're kind of bypassing it. Yes, they hold our treasury bonds. However, if interest rates come down, there's not much incentive for them to quit dumping them. A lot of countries have already started dumping them, repositioning themselves with more gold. I'll be honest, if you're holding gold, you have seen the profits come in this year. Now, are they profits? I mean, you know, you're talking semantics if someone asks that question. Are they profits? Well, technically a profit is not there until you sell it. However, it does feel good having something that is going up in value from day to day to day when everything else, you know, essentially feels like we're struggling. And more people are realizing that we're struggling. They just don't understand why. I don't know how many people I talk to over the course of a week now, especially if you're the type that sparks up conversations with people just to understand how they're thinking, what's going on. You know, you start to realize that people are realizing what's going on. They realize they just don't understand why. They understand I'm working more, my spouse is working more, and yet I'm having a hard time making ends meet. Why is that? Well, we understand that because we've been stacking for a while. You've been following the channel for a while, and you understand, obviously, the more money they print, the less it's worth. And ever since we've got off the gold standard, they have been basically no holds. Nothing to hold them in check, nothing to hold them accountable for where they're at. And that's kind of why the BRICS nation wants to go to a physical gold standard. You want something from them, yeah, we might move it around for now. However, at the end of the year, we move gold around. As this happens more and more, we will see the price start accelerating. And here's the thing, most everyday Americans are not involved yet. You know, back in the 80s, everybody blames the Hunt brothers. And I personally am not a fan of this story. I mean, yes, I understand the Hunt brothers were big players. They were buying gold, silver, hand over fist. They were trying to get as much as they could. But just in them talking and spreading that word and buying, people seeing, what does that do? That gets more everyday people to want to get on board. When everyday people decide to start buying gold or silver, it will escalate the price higher and higher. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, when silver hits $50, that's it. It's just going to plunge back down. It's not the same situation today. It's not at all. We don't have, back then, they didn't have when it first accelerated, they didn't have huge amounts of paper shorts. They didn't have the COMEX, that you weren't able to really bet against it and buy ETFs and stuff. As that came around, they were able to beat the price down. And we've seen this happen, and it gets discouraging when they beat the price of silver down. However, as more and more countries start putting demand on physical gold, physical silver, that is going to start to cause a drift or a breaking apart of the spot price, that is the actual paper price, I guess you can call it, and a physical price. And I know some people will say, oh, there's no different. The spot price is the physical price. It's the same thing. There is no spot versus physical. There is. There is. And the reason there is you can't physically go and buy an ounce of silver for $42.65. And if you can, you are extremely lucky. And if you don't, you're probably making a pretty big mistake. Because at $42.65, like I said, I would not be surprised today to see the price get up to $43. Now, there's a possibility with the Fed meeting coming, though, they will try to prop up the DXY and pump it up and make it look good. But if they make it look good, what is the point in cutting interest rates, really? And that's why I think it could be a little different. Now, I personally am on standby hoping to see a pullback. I would love to see us go all the way down into the 41s. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky and the markets will open up and we'll be at 41.65 today, and then tomorrow during the day we'll get down to $40.65. That would be great, so I could pick up a little bit more, squeeze a little bit of money out. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we are going to continue to see the price possibly work up higher. Now, where do I think the drop is going to come? Where do I think we will see some sort of a pullback? We are coming up at the end of the third financial quarter. If you look out year to date, we talked about this at the third month, end of the third month, the end of the 6th month, and then again at the end of the 9th month, which we are in right now. But let's just take a look here. Take a look at this. End of the third month, look what happened. We've seen this huge pullback that pretty much started at $34.27, and it came all the way down to $28.80. I mean, that's a huge drop, but it didn't take any time at all to recorrect and rebound and go even higher. Actually, I should say rebound, and then a little bit of time to go advance forward again. Now, we're seeing this quick run up, kind of like we had seen here. I think we're going to see some sort of a pullback. The question is, how big of a pullback? How low could it really go? I have heard people say it could go down to retrace the $39 area roughly. I personally don't think we will see that low. If there's anything under $40, I would probably try to buy whatever I could, because I think this could be the last opportunity. Remember, we are in summertime. What happens during summertime? Generally in the summertime, we see pullbacks. We didn't see a horrible pullback this summer. So with that being said, it makes sense that come fall, we are going to see it run. Come winter, we're going to see it run like we normally would. And then see what happens. Now, at the end of the year, yeah, we could see a little bit of a pullback. But if we're all the way up to $50, $51 at that point, and we see a $4 drop, I mean, $42 is still awesome buy at this point. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking back and wishing they had bought more at 42. I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned it because someone I know sold his collection at $39. And I'm sure that guy has to be kicking himself in the butt right now, because now we're seeing stuff break down, and he dumped his position. When people don't have a firm understanding on why they're investing in gold and silver, they miss the big picture. The big picture is you want to have some. This is money. Gold and silver is real money. Fiat dollars is, I won't say it's monopoly money, but it has the same intrinsic value as monopoly money. I mean, what's the difference between a monopoly dollar and a U.S. dollar or a Fed note? Well, the only difference is a military that backs it, a country that says it's accepted, and a lot of people brainwashed. A brainwashing, education, I guess you can call it, or, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say a lying campaign, but that's essentially what it is. For years, they have been running this false campaign that the dollar has huge value and it can never plunge. I think a day is going to come where people are just going to realize, oh, shoot, we've been duped. And when they look at gold and silver, it's literally going to be outpriced out of everybody's hands. Already gold essentially is pretty much kind of there. I talk to a lot of people. They don't want to get into gold now because they're like, you're looking at $37.50 to get an ounce of gold, and there's no end in sight. It just keeps slowly pushing higher and higher. And we're seeing another, like I said, another big move just recently. This big move is the lead up to what is coming in the next 2 days. Now, does it mean it's going to be the end of the world for the dollar? No. But as it goes higher and higher, you have to understand the huge short positions that are out there that are betting against silver, that are betting against gold, are kind of getting put in a spot where we're losing a lot of money. How long do we keep this up? There will be people that will break ranks, banks that will break ranks, companies that all of a sudden are going to not want to be shorting precious metals. They're going to want to essentially bet on it and let it ride. And every time one bank breaks ranks, instead of it working with it, it's now pushing the price higher. Because in order to clear their short positions, they have to get physical silver and pay it back. And when they go to get that physical silver, they've got to buy it at a higher and higher price. These naked shorts that we've seen in the past will only work so long. But like I said, do I think we will see it again at the end of this month? I do. And I think when we beat it down, when I say we, when big banks beat it down even more, because they're going to have to even put even more pressure on it to drive the price down to cover them short positions. When they do that, it only makes sense that that will be the opportunity for some people to break ranks, buy extra, clear their short positions, and then let the price run from there. As the price dips, there's going to be a lot of people like us that are stackers that are going to be wanting to get in and get some physical. Once they do that, that's going to drive it up even higher. And so, like I said, don't be so scared if you see some sort of a pullback at the end of the month, and then all of a sudden you see some huge move even higher. I'm still confident we're going to see $50 by the end of the year. Now, what seemed like a joke not too many months ago is starting to be a reality now as we're approaching 43. 50 is only $7 away. And these people that said they refuse to buy until it goes back under 20, or they refuse to buy until it goes back under 30, or there's going to be some huge pullback when the stock market takes a hit, it's not a guarantee at this point. All that is pretty much out the window. So if you heard that somewhere, you can pretty much say maybe kiss that goodbye. And then the question is, do you have yours? And that's the big question to be asking. Do you have your physical gold? Do you have your physical silver? All it comes down to, in my personal opinion, is ounces. You're going to be okay, I think, if you have ounces, if you have a means, some water, some food. I've always said water and food should be your first priority. Then security, then some ounces, then you can get into all the other little things that people say you should have, like backup generators and this and that and medicine and all this other stuff. We've done a lot of videos on that. We've done a lot of videos on prepping, homesteading, stuff that you can do to prepare. With that being said, it's going to be interesting how the next couple of days play out. So with that being said, I will be wrapping the video up here. Let's see how long we've been talking for. Not bad, 23 minutes. Kind of a quick video today. I am getting hammered lately with all kinds of stuff coming down the pipeline. And I'll be honest, personally, I am trying to focus on, keeping everything going. I want to keep stacking. I want to keep my preps up. There's a lot of things that could happen that could really just make anything happen. And so be prepared. Thank you all for watching. If you're new to the channel and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that subscribe. Special thank you goes out to all of the members of the channel. I do post their names on every video below, so if you are fairly newer to the channel, maybe you want to consider becoming a member. It's only $1.99. If it's not for you, it's okay. It's not for everybody, but every month we do some sort of a special event where people have an opportunity to win something cool, and so it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, And I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Don't forget, hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Even if it's just a comment that says good morning, I'm always happy with that. It helps the algorithm. So thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.